Property ownership has the potential to outlive me, my wife, our children and their children, but only if it's bought, structured and managed well. Over the last decades, I've had the privilege of working with two exceptional professionals, Simon Skinner, the UK's leading capital allowance surveyor, and Dan Cruikshank, a world-class property tax accountant. Together, we built something I'm incredibly proud of, Property Tax Optimisers. Our stars aligned and this partnership has allowed us to help investors unlock hidden value in their properties and claim what's rightfully theirs. I've bought and sold millions in property and I've spent hundreds of thousands on advice. Some of it good, some of it painful. And I don't want anyone else to make the same mistakes I made. With this power team, I've personally been able to bank over £750,000 in tax-free capital gains, £500,000 in capital allowances and saved tens of thousands in income tax. But it wasn't always this way. When I first started, I made almost every mistake in the book. My first accountant was fine when I was self-employed. He was cheap, friendly and handled the basics. But when it came to property, his advice cost me hundreds of thousands. I even put someone on a property title that didn't need to be there, purely on his recommendation. When I realised my property business had outgrown him, I switched accountants. But that's when I found out just how wrong his advice had been. The next accountant wasn't much better. She was polite, precise, but she seemed to work for HMRC more than for me and charged for every breath I took in her office. Then I found Dan. Dan's brilliant. He's like a human calculator with a conscience. I come to him with my wild ideas and he brings me back down to earth, showing me what's possible, what's risky, and what the real world tax implications are. He keeps me on the straight and narrow. And together with Simon, we've built a team that helps others do the same. When I studied accountancy, something clicked. I realised you can have the same property appear on your balance sheet as either an asset or a liability, and both can be perfectly legitimate, depending on how it's structured. That understanding changed everything. Then came the second aha moment, when I discovered that debt isn't taxed, but income is. This insight completely shifted the way I saw wealth. Here's what blew my mind. I learned that I could sell my main residence to my own limited company, effectively loaning the equity to the business. By doing so, I could lock in any capital gains tax at that point. Then have my company refinance the property, releasing that equity to reinvest in new opportunities. The company owes me that money as a director's loan, but it doesn't have to repay it immediately. It's there like a private pension, tax-free at the point I decide to draw it down. On paper, that same money becomes an asset to me and a liability to the company. Yet it's unsecured and flexible. That's when I started to truly think like a bank, understanding how to use debt, equity, and domicile structures as instruments of strategy rather than just transactions. And that's the essence of Property Tax Optimisers, high-level, strategic thinking that's usually reserved for the ultra-wealthy. We show people how to turn property into strategy and strategy into freedom. We're living in a high-inflation, high-tax world, and if you're not strategic, your money is being quietly eroded on both fronts. So I've structured my personal economy differently. I keep part of my savings in gold and silver, real assets that hold and increase in value instead of watching cash lose purchasing power year after year. I also use an offset mortgage on my home. Rather than earning a small taxable amount of interest from the bank, my savings directly reduce my mortgage balance. If my rate is 4.5%, every pound I offset effectively earns a tax-free 4.5% return, compounding month after month, without triggering any benefit in kind or income tax, and still having immediate access to it, like a war chest. Then I make sure every allowance is used. Mileage, family employment, tax thresholds, all the efficiencies that quietly add up over time. And through capital allowances, I ensure every pound I invest back into property works harder, turning expenditure into efficiency and efficiency into profit. This coming year, my focus has evolved. I'm moving deeper into mergers and acquisitions, finding solid businesses that just need a lift, companies with great bones but missing the spark to scale. I want to bring creativity, capital and strategy into those environments, helping owners retire or move on while keeping the value they've built alive and thriving. For me, it's about reviving potential, taking something that's already works and helping it evolve into something bigger, smarter and more sustainable.